Here we go. Episode 103 of the Hardline Sports Talk. Michael Merlo and John Michael Masiri here with you. JM, how are we doing on this wonderful Thursday night?
Doing good, man. It's August is a little depressing, not gonna lie to you. I feel like getting past July and now into August, we're starting to the weather's I don't like 90 degrees, but I also don't like when we're on the downhill from 90 degrees, if that makes any sense.
We've had some great weather days over here on Long Island the past couple of days. Just breezy, not too humid, perfect weather outside. So I will take those days. I love the fall weather. So I'm looking forward to that. And we're all looking forward to football. I think we're going to keep saying this like every year that goes by. I don't think we've seen like a more anticipated season in a very long time, maybe ever. The anticipation for this season, the excitement for the 2023-2024 NFL season is through the roof. It's all people can talk about. Baseball at this point is boring, especially in this town. Yeah. I mean, aside from talking about the negatives with New York baseball, there's nothing to talk about. Mm-hmm. So we're all focused on football. You have the talk of the league, Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets in New York. We're going to talk about the Jets and Hardknocks in a little bit. We're even going to talk about the Giants extensively. We really haven't gotten to the Giants yet. We are going to start, though, JM, with the NFL Top 100 list, which was absolutely putrid in every which way you look at it. The biggest snub, Andrew Thomas, not on the list. What a joke that was. Yeah. But we're going to get to a lot of things here. You sent me this quarterback list at the top 100, basically spit out. But what was your biggest problem with the top 100 list?
I mean, how can you not just immediately look at the quarterbacks and see not only Trevor Lawrence 14th, which is crazy. I mean, I think I had him 7th or 8th in my top 10 quarterbacks list. I know you had him maybe 6th.
I am high.
You had him high, and you really can't see any argument for him below like 9, maybe 10. But like, you got to have him in the top 10. 14 is crazy. And then you're like, okay, well, if he's 14, then like, give me some of the names in front of him. When I say the first name as Justin Fields, who we've talked about so many times on this show, him being ahead of Trevor Lawrence is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Listen, I rag on Justin Fields a lot. And I've been wrong in this position before because I did the same thing with Lamar Jackson, where it was a running quarterback who's never thrown efficiently in the NFL before. And you can't. I wasn't a believer in Lamar. I didn't see it. He didn't play very well in the playoffs that rookie year he had, and I knew he was a rookie. So I gave him a little bit of slack, but I remember a lot of people predicting that breakout year for Lamar in year 2, and I wasn't a believer in it, and it happened. So we've been here before. I'm gonna double down. If I'm wrong again, then I'm wrong again. But I don't see it with Fields getting to a passer level that Lamar has gotten to in his career. I also think Lamar was in a much better situation, and I think Lamar's just a more talented player than Justin Fields is. But anyway,
we could spend an entire episode on Justin Fields. What do we think of him? We agree on Justin Fields that we both don't think he's going to turn into a great quarterback. I think the biggest issue, like you just mentioned, I don't think he has the coaching staff at the moment to do so, and the timing is just off. Again, I can talk about so many reasons why Justin Fields should have been traded away from the Bears, and the Bears should have stayed at 1 and taken Bryce Young, but I don't want to get into it right now.
Merlo, what reason could you like? I need you to play a little devil's advocate for me here. Like, what reason could you say, okay, Fields over Lawrence?
No,
and take away rushing. Yeah, because literally nothing.
There's absolutely nothing. There's no reason whatsoever. They're the same. It's not like you could say, oh, well, one's younger and
same draft class, exactly.
Everything. So it's absolutely mind-boggling. Again, you know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to talk about them later as well. I had him over, most of this list.
Yeah.
And we both didn't have Cousins on our top 10. Did we have Cousins on our top 10?
I don't believe so, no.
And I love Kirk Cousins, but
Yeah.
come on, man. And Cousins is ahead of Rodgers. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand. And Lamar 10. I'm high on Jared Goff. Jared Goff over Lamar is ridiculous. Dak
Yeah.
Prescott over Lamar is ridiculous. It's just, listen, I understand these guys are players and, they could tell you better than anybody else how talented a guy is because they play against them. But at the same time, like, there's a reason general managers exist. And there's a reason why, like, the national sports media exists. Like, there are people, analysts and general managers and coaches, and the list goes on, that are paid or just overall better at evaluating talent than players are.
And they make lists, right? Like
Yeah.
These former general managers, current executives, anonymously will make lists. We saw Jeremy Fowler spit out a top 10 list of every position group, basically. Like, and our lists and most other people's lists who have a brain, it comes out closer.
Right.
And I don't want, you're right, I don't want to hear this player talk. Like, I'm not saying I know more than an NFL player. I don't, or at least some of them I don't. But
I'll tell you, I know more than some of these guys, whoever's putting freaking Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence.
You can't tell me this. Come on, man.
Yeah.
If this is a running back list, sure, Justin Fields could be ahead of a couple of these guys.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Jesus Christ, man. I got in trouble for saying Jesus Christ on the air way too much live on radio, so I'm gonna try and refrain.
Are you gonna just dump it all out here? You're just gonna double down on it here?
No, you know what? I think when I say Jesus Christ, like something's really like it's got me engaged, got me going, and it comes out.
Right.
Pause. But like I don't know. I'm gonna just refrain from saying it, but it's crazy. I mean, like I mentioned, the one snub, Andrew Thomas, who is one of the best left tackles in football. He's left off of it.
That's insane. I think it has to be a bit of a popularity contest. Also,
it could be.
There's got to be, like, I'll let you know right now. As a Jet fan, CJ Mosley, number 46, is kind of crazy. Like, CJ Mosley is don't get me wrong, second team All-Pro last year. Like, he's a good linebacker, not a pass coverage linebacker by any means. Very poor in the passing game as a linebacker. To have him as a top 50 player in football, think about it. He's 6 spots away from Quinnen Williams. They play on the same team, and Quinnen Williams is much more of an impactful player than CJ Mosley is. So it's fun. Like, when it comes out, it's like, oh man, like top 100. Let's see how bad it is this year. It's like every year. It's just like, yep, it's getting worse.
And it's like, again, like we mentioned the Rodgers thing. Like, Rodgers had a down year last year, especially for his standards. Like, nobody's denying that. Cooper Kupp was hurt, and when he was playing, I mean, the quarterback play, they dealt with injuries, whatever.
Yep.
Like, come on, bro. You're gonna tell me if we're ranking wide receivers right now, like we literally did, Cooper Kupp's not at least a top 5 wide receiver? I mean, come on. He's ranked in the 40s.
They got no idea.
He's ranked in the 40s.
I will say the top 10 is pretty good. I mean, Aaron Donald, a spot below Chris Jones. I don't know about that. I definitely, Chris Jones had a better year last year, and I could see.
James, it's clearly something just completely based off of last season. It has to be the only explanation, and
100%.
it doesn't explain some of these other crazy snubs or
like Rodgers falling to 51 is tell you, okay, it's really based off last year. Guy wins 2 MVPs in a row, and then all of a sudden, boom, number 51. And then you have, listen, Jalen Hurts. I love him. I mean, I have spoken of him highly so many times.
Yeah, you said some crazy things about Jalen Hurts.
I have said some, yeah.
I
don't need to go back to that. Him number 3 in football. Like, I could see it. I really think the sky's the limit for this guy. Like, why not? He could end up being the guy right next to Patrick Mahomes. But for right now, to have him at number 3, not quarterbacks, the second best quarterback, number 3 in the NFL. Yeah, I mean,
I disagree with
they're really weighing in last year.
I disagree with that take, by the way, wholeheartedly. I don't think he is capable of being the guy that Joe Burrow is.
Listen,
potentially Josh Allen is.
What? Can you explain to me why? Because I understand, like, he won't be like a Pat Mahomes where he doesn't, sure, maybe doesn't have the arm strength that Mahomes has and this and that, but I think He does things that Mahomes can't do, and he's, a much more tougher guy to bring down. He's more effective as a runner. He's a great passer. He's an accurate passer.
This is, and it's going to come across as a knock on Jalen Hurts, okay? But in reality, any quarterback needs a supporting cast, a good supporting cast with good coaching staff, to succeed. But when you have a guy that has everything going perfectly for him, I think compared to some guys we've seen Burrow not with everything
right. But okay, but did Burrow not have an awful rookie, or not? I won't say awful. He did not have a good rookie season though, Joe Burrow, and
no,
neither
but
did
Joe
Jalen
Burrow
Hurts.
with a bad offensive line went to the Super Bowl.
But it took Jalen Hurts 2 years to turn into elite status. It took Joe Burrow 1. Okay, but you look at the Super Bowl last year. My counter argument to that is Jalen Hurts was the guy keeping them in that game. I mean, he played on the biggest stage. He played out of his mind. And I think, it's a cliche that gets tossed around in sports a lot. The whole, he's got that dog in him and that mentality and blah, blah, blah. I think Jalen Hurts, is a dog. I think his mentality is you could just tell that guy's a gamer.
I want to see Jalen Hurts when the offensive line is in top 3, when he doesn't have the best wide receiver duo in the entire league and a top 5 tight end. I want to see him without a top 5 defense. I want to see how he could carry the team like that, because I agree. In that Super Bowl, he was, and the defensive players on the Chiefs will tell you he was the best player in that Super Bowl.
When you're saying the best receiver duo in the league, obviously it's a debate. I think Hill and Waddle's better, but it's fine. They're definitely.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking it literally. That's not a bold statement by saying they're obviously a very talented receiving duo. But you ever think Jalen Hurts elevated that receiver duo? If Devonta Smith doesn't have Jalen Hurts throwing him the football last year, is he really all of a sudden the top 15 receiver in the NFL? I don't think so. Same thing with AJ Brown. He had Ryan Tannehill, who had a couple good years there in Tennessee, but
he was great. And he was great.
Ryan Tannehill was there at the end of the year, and now Ryan Tannehill Malik Willis might take his job, or if Will Levis ever figures out what the hell he's doing, he might take his job. And AJ Brown comes over to Philly, and boom, career year. So I agree. It's not all on Jalen Hurts. Yes, Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and Jason Kelsey and Landon Dickerson and Nick Sirianni and Miles Sanders and all these guys help 100%. But I'm not going to knock the guy for performing basically as well as he could possibly perform on that team. He was an MVP candidate.
Agreed, but with absolutely everything going perfect for him. I'm not denying he's an elite quarterback. I'm not denying he's, in the top 5 or at least close to the top 5. Not denying any of that. But to say that he's on the level of Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, and again, at times, Josh Allen, I cannot go there just yet. I think they're in I think he's a tier below those guys.
Close in division, Dak Prescott, right? We've seen Dak in some amazing situations. I mean,
right.
Offensive line like Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, you got Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb on the outside. You got Zeke in his prime. He's been in some fantastic situations. That would have been Dak Prescott's best year of his career last year that Jalen Hurts had. And the situations were pretty similar. And we view Dak Prescott as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
We do, but I don't think Dak had the defense and the offense at the same time as elite.
But I mean, if we're talking about the defense I'm talking just about their offensive performance. I know defense helps because of field position and time of possession and all that good stuff, but Jalen Hurts, offensive situations, Dak Prescott, I think you put him on that Eagles team last year, he does not put up the numbers that Jalen Hurts did.
Well, he can't run like Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
running.
Jalen Hurts better player.
Right. I'm not saying he's not. I was never saying Dak was, but I think Dak would have the best season of his career throwing the football.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm not denying it was obviously a very good situation.
It's a perfect situation. There's no.
But I'm saying he is the kind of guy where you put him on Buffalo, you put him on Cincinnati, you put him anywhere where these other guys are, he's still going to perform at an MVP level. I think I disagree.
Okay. You
Time
think
will
if he was
tell.
you
We'll
think if
see
he
how
was on
his
the
career
Gi-
goes.
you think if he was on the Giants last season, he's an MVP candidate last year?
Okay, whoa. MVP candidate. I mean, the Giants situation was pretty freaking bad. Like
If I put Joe Burrow on the Giants, Joe Burrow's still an MVP candidate.
no, he's not. No,
yes,
he's
he
not.
is. Yes, he
So,
is.
okay, so
yes,
why
he
does
is.
Joe? Wait. Why does Joe Burrow get the pass where he has Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and these guys, Joe Mixon on his team, and then you just want to automatically assume that he's going to go to the Giants and be great. But Jalen Hurts has great weapons around him, and I know the offensive line is different, this and that. But Joe Burrow, like he hasn't done it with an awful situation before.
Yeah, I saw Joe Burrow with a bad offensive line, and at the time, not the best defensively, not a top 10 defense, but a pretty good defense. Go to the Super Bowl, go to Kansas City and beat them. I've seen
Wasn't
Joe
all.
Burrow.
I love Joe Burrow.
I know it. I don't
like
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Like, let's not act like he like lit up the Chiefs defense on the road. Like, they let a good comeback. They scored 24 or 27 points, or whatever the hell it was. It wasn't an all-time great showing.
I can't believe I got you right now. This is crazy. If this is not on my bingo card, me sitting here sticking up for Joe Burrow, talking about how great Joe Burrow is, and you sitting here trying to deny him. Because, by the way, I've seen those stats in the playoffs. They aren't very good. Kirk Cousins arguably has better numbers in the playoffs than Joe Burrow does.
Yeah,
but Joe Burrow. Which
I also think people read into that way too much. The whole like playoff numbers and things like that, because a lot of this stuff. I mean, I love stats. Nobody loves stats more than me, obviously.
Oh, I know.
I think when it comes to postseason, like you got to watch the game. Like it's more like you got to watch the game and see actually what went down.
Go watch those Eli Manning runs.
Okay.
Okay, that was a great discussion. Let's move on though. JM, who we're just talking about, Jalen Hurts. JM wants to discuss a team or any team in the NFC that can take down those Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles will be taken down. I don't think they represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But JM, who do you think is not going to be able to take the Eagles down?
Well, I think the Eagles are still the best team in the NFC. I'm probably not going to pick them to go to the Super Bowl just because we know. Okay, relax. You're acting like I'm like Mr. Go Birds, like which
I don't know. I think
listen,
I heard
you have had allegations towards you in the past about being a closeted Eagles fan. So why don't you relax? Okay,
I can't stand them.
I think that it's really hard to repeat success, and the cards got to fall the right way. And listen, if there's a time for it to happen in a weak NFC, it could happen again for the Eagles. They're that good, but I think it's the Cowboys. I think when you look around this NFC, he's laughing. Here we go.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. When you look around the NFC, the Cowboys obviously stick out first. I mean, they've been relevant and had some good seasons for the past 5 or so years now, even going back further than that. But, they lose to San Francisco last year. Dak doesn't have a great year. The weapons are, pretty subpar in terms of the receiver room behind CeeDee Lamb. And, the season ends in embarrassing fashion, whatever the hell that Zeke play call. I still don't know to this day what the hell that was.
Yeah.
But I'm liking the way they're looking this year. I mean, some losses, you lose Dalton Schultz. Okay. By the way, that's going to be like, mark my words, that's going to be one of those contracts where we're like, oh my God, like he didn't get the bag, but the Texans are going to be like, why did we even sign this guy?
Right.
I really think like,
deal.
There's just no point to sign. Like that's a bad contract. Yeah. And Zeke leaves, which could be a positive. I mean, Tony Pollard is going to be the bell cow basically of this team, because when you look behind him in that depth chart, the one knock on Tony Pollard is he's not a big running back. He's like the biggest guy in that running back room. They got Deuce Vaughn, who's like a legal midget.
Yeah. It's kind of scary.
It is.
I'm kind of scared to watch him.
He's getting made fun of a lot. I feel bad. Hats off to him for being an NFL player at that size. He must be very good in other areas, obviously. But anyways, not to get off track, I think that this offense, it's scary. They got Brandon Cooks now. They upgraded on the defensive side of the ball with Stephon Gilmore. Obviously, the one thing hanging over their heads, Zach Martin, still not in camp. That's a big deal. But I really do think that this Cowboys team, with the easier schedule than what the Eagles have, and now with Mike McCarthy calling the plays on the offensive side of the ball, we'll see how that works out. That could go good or bad, obviously. We know about his track record. I think that they're probably the greatest threat to them. And Merlo, I'll let you talk about the team who a lot of people are probably saying right now, well, what about them? I'll let you kick us off here.
Yeah, I by the way, I agree with you. And I think Philadelphia's schedule and the way the schedule kind of breaks for them, I do think that the Cowboys have a great chance at winning this division. And I think it's possible they do. I'm not 100% sold on Philadelphia repeating as NFC East champions. But one thing I know for certain is that home field advantage in the NFC will not go through the NFC East. It'll be in San Francisco.
Right.
That's where it'll be. The schedule is, the schedule's tough for San Francisco. I'm not saying it's not. It's not as difficult as the Eagles and Cowboys, but it's a difficult schedule. But it's crazy that I'm about to say this, but the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan have almost made it in a way, their offense is built in a way where the quarterback is not as important in other situations, in other offenses around the league. Like, obviously, the quarterback has to do his job, but they don't need an elite quarterback to win. They have the best rushing attack in the league, right? They have a great offensive line, great defense, and I think Brock Purdy is going to be able to get this team back to where they need to get to. I think the game is going to be in San Francisco. I think it'll be against Philadelphia or Dallas once again. And I think San Francisco gets their revenge. Like that's just my feeling. I look at the NFC and you could say it's wide open. I don't know if it's wide open because I think it's between these three teams and that's about it.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it. It's the hardest the NFC has ever been to predict in a really long time, just because it seems easy. Like, it's so easy, right. It's hard because you're like, okay, well, you got Philadelphia, Dallas, and San Fran. And then it's like, well, who else you got? Like Seattle. Okay, I'm a believer in Seattle this year.
I like Seattle.
And then it's like, well, let's look at the other divisions. Question marks all over the NFC North. I mean, you could literally see every single team in the NFC North winning anywhere from, maybe besides the Lions, but just about everybody winning anywhere from 4 to 11 games. Like, literally, like every single team. I think you can.
Not 11. Not 11.
You don't think any of those teams in that division can win 11 games, besides the Bears?
I think the Lions can win 11. I think
the Lions can win 11 games, the Vikings can win 11 games, and the Packers can win 11 games.
I do not think the Packers. I'm not as down as everybody is on Green Bay.
I'm picking them to win the division.
I think that's crazy. Yeah. And I know we'll argue about this another day. I don't think Green Bay's gonna win the division. But I forgot what we were talking about. San Francisco.
Just how hard this is gonna be to predict. Somebody's going to emerge. Like, we see it all the time. Even the Eagles. Like, the Eagles were a pick that I'm not going to compare them to the Lions because it's a completely different situation. The Eagles, you saw it with their defense and everything like that. But the Eagles were that team where they lost to the Bucs in the wild card 2 years ago, and they were young, and people were anticipating a better year out of Hurts, and they already had a good roster, a good established roster. They already made it to the playoffs. So they were that pick last year for that team to really emerge as like a juggernaut, and they did. It's very difficult to find that team this year. And I don't necessarily think that team will emerge.
That team might not emerge. I mean, it's the Giants.
There will obviously be a team that emerges that isn't necessarily a juggernaut, but they're like a legit contender to be messed with.
I don't think you're going to see the juggernaut this year, but no, you're right. I think the 49ers.
But okay, let's talk. I want to talk about.
I look at that roster, man, and I understand Philadelphia. Like, they lose Hargrave and they replace him with arguably the best player in the draft, Carter. Yeah. Okay, great. But Hargrave's a really good player. Yeah. They add him to that defensive line, which was already elite.
This 49ers team, they are going to be what they've been the past couple of years. They're going to be loaded on both sides of the ball. The offensive line is a problem to me a little bit. I mean, really? Obviously we know about Trent Williams, but everywhere else on that offensive line, I'm not sold on.
They lose McGlinchey.
They lose McGlinchey, who had his struggles, but actually turned out to be a pretty good player for them last year.
Yeah.
They lost Laken Tomlinson a couple of years ago. What? To me, I understand your point where you're saying Shanahan and the scheme and just the way that they are so dominant with their running game, where you don't need that much out of the quarterback, and they have the weapons. They have Ayuk, McCaffrey, Debo, George Kittle. Like, they have the weapons. I get it. You need a quarterback to win in the National Football League. Sure, maybe you could win 12 games. Maybe you could win 13 games. To get to the Super Bowl, to win a Super Bowl, you need a quarterback. Brock Purdy, to me, all right, everybody listen up. Get on the edge of your seat. I don't know who out there believes in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, I'll give you a great comparison. He's literally like Mike White. Like, that's what Brock Purdy is. Brock Purdy, if Jack, any 49er fan out there that's thinking,
Name dropping people.
We have, shout out my boy Jack, but any 49ers fans out there thinking that, Brock could be the franchise guy, which, by the way, I would not want him to be. I hope that freaking guy we traded 3 first-round picks for is our franchise guy, but he might be the third stringer at this point. Brock Purdy, he came in the league, he did a good job. He's the type of quarterback that you could plug and play like a Mike White, where he throws an accurate ball. He's not going to wow you with his arm strength. He's not going to wow you with his escapability and this and that, but he could get the job done. A full year of Brock Purdy as a quarterback with you scheming against them and saying, okay, throw the ball, please beat me with your arm, Brock Purdy. He's just not that. Sure, he could play at an average level in the National Football League in a scheme like that, in a situation like that. Maybe he could give you 25 touchdowns, but they're not getting to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy.
I saw the San Francisco 49ers throw the ball 9 times at home and annihilate a Green Bay Packer team, which didn't have a bad defense that season.
Yes.
Annihilate the Green Bay Packers in San Francisco. The games will be at home. I think they're going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. Just because I do believe Dallas and Philadelphia is going to beat up by their schedule. And like we mentioned, there's really no other team in the NFC besides those 3 that have a chance at becoming that number 1 seed. There's not like that Jacksonville in the AFC where Jacksonville plays in a crap division and everybody else is going to beat the hell out of each other, where we could see Jacksonville possibly winning 12, 13 games just because of the schedule and being the 1 seed. There's no team like that in the NFC. It's going to be one of those 3 teams. I believe that they can get, I sort of agree with you. If they got to go on the road to Dallas or Philadelphia and Purdy's going to have to throw the ball, I do think that's a difficult situation. But
also, what do we need to talk about this 49ers team? Health. They have dealt with so many injuries. You're telling me, like, look at the weapons. Who are their 3 best weapons on offense? Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, George Kittle. All of those guys have had injury problems throughout their career so far. I mean,
and they all seem to get injured like sporadically here.
Right.
Is there going to be a season where we could have some injury luck in San Francisco? If that's that season, they're going to the Super Bowl.
And I understand, like, you can't just be like, oh, JM, you can't just say a guy's going to get hurt. Like, obviously you can't predict injuries, but we could look back at history. Like, there are guys who are injury prone players. Like, that's always been a thing. The 49ers have a lot of injury prone players. And that's something, like, when we talk about the Dolphins, how are we going to talk about the Dolphins without saying, Tua, there's a possibility, like, the guy could get hurt. Like, that's just the way it is. Why do you think they signed Mike White?
Can I say something absolutely crazy?
Sure. I mean, as long as it's PG.
I think Sam Darnold can win them the division.
Oh.
I think if Sam Darnold started at quarterback, they would win the division.
I agree, because it's been done before where they won the division with Brock Purdy last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have him the whole year, but yes, I agree that with the weak NFC and just how good that defense is and how good that offense can still be with the quarterback not being that effective.
Just doing its job.
That is my point in all of this, is that's only going to get you so far. And it was my exact point last year when they were going up against Philly in the NFC Championship game. And I know you can say Brock Purdy got hurt and this and that, and they were on the road and blah, blah, blah. They would have lost that game either way, home or away. I'll make that point. I'll stand by that till the day I die. They would have lost.
I don't think you could say that if he's healthy in that game's at home. I don't know.
The Eagles, if at the most, you could say, okay, roster to roster, it's a tie. if anything, it goes to Philadelphia. They had the better offensive line. The weapons were better overall.
Quarterback. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Actually, I'll take that back. Maybe they have more depth in their weapon, but we'll say the weapons, it's a tie. But the quarterback, yeah, it's a clear difference there with Hurts versus Purdy. And the Eagles had that season last year where they were a freaking juggernaut. Like, nobody was stopping them except the Chiefs. Obviously, you play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's what happens. But nobody in that NFC was stopping the Eagles last year.
Very interesting debate.
They're not getting to the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy, man. Bookmark it, August 11th.
You see, and I'm reading reports now out of camp that Lance is starting to play better. Like, the early whatever crap they were talking about with him, kind of gone now. He is starting to play he's starting to play better. Shanahan's such a smart guy. John Lynch is a smart guy. They got really, really smart people running that organization. Don't you think they know that Brock Purdy most likely is not talented enough to get to them to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but what other options do they have?
Like, if Lance is playing better, like, don't you think they realize, like, Lance would be the guy that puts us over the edge? Like, sure, Purdy can get us to the NFC Championship game, but can he win us that game and get us to the Super Bowl and win that game?
Listen,
if me and you if I'm questionable and you're saying no, and a lot of other people are saying no, don't you think they sort of have that in their mind to kind of think that?
I get that Kyle Shanahan's a smart guy. John Lynch is a smart GM. He's put together a great team. But who do we think is the best coach in NFL history? Bill Belichick. How's Mac Jones working out? Like, these guys aren't right 100% of the time. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done a fantastic job putting together this Niners team. But they could be sitting there going, oh, crap. We gave up 3 first-round picks.
They're not doing it. No,
guy.
They're not doing no. Because they would force him into that. They would force Lance into it.
They have Brock Purdy. He's like the little cover up for them because they have such a great system that Brock Purdy can succeed in it to a certain extent.
Trey Lance can succeed in the system.
If Trey Lance sucks and they just get rid of him or he just ends up signing as a backup somewhere else or goes on the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold career path, like, you don't think that's a possibility?
I think Trey Lance could get them to the freaking NFC Championship game.
If Trey Lance learns how to taps into the potential he has when they drafted him, he could win them a Super Bowl.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Great player. But
don't you think they would try and force Lance into this situation? And there's a reason that they're not, because they like Purdy that much. Like,
I think there would be the opposite.
I think there'll be a bias toward Lance.
Sucks. It could be Lance sucks, and they just need Purdy. It's like, all right, Purdy's going to take care of the ball. He'll be a game manager. Let's go 2019 or whatever year, 2019 49ers approach. Let's hand the ball off 38 times, have Jimmy G throw it 8 times, and go to the Super Bowl. That could be their approach with Brock Purdy.
That's crazy.
I think the likelihood of Trey Lance sucking and them just going with Purdy because Lance just cannot go out there and win them games is much higher than Trey Lance being okay, but still not ready. Brock Purdy's okay. We believe in Brock too. Let's go with Purdy.
But that's what they're saying. Like, they're telling you Brock's the guy. They're saying Brock's the guy.
Yep. We'll see. He's not.
They are fascinating, and that's why it's going to be a great story for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Leading up to the Super Bowl. That's why it's unreal. Anyway, you know how my football team used to win Super Bowls,
right?
Exactly the way.
Yeah, back in the day.
Discussed.
Right.
Defense, pass rush, running the football. Quarterback that gets the job done.
Okay, well, listen. As much as I love to rip on Eli Manning, like, he was a good quarterback.
No, he was. I was about to say. I was about to give you a disclaimer. Yeah, I was about to give you a disclaimer. Like, Eli made plays, especially in the postseason, and was very good in the postseason.
I mean, lower career pass rating than Jacoby Brissett, but
it doesn't matter. He's Hall of Famer. The New York Giants and their management are figuring out now, especially the ownership, that you need to win in different ways, and you have to throw the football. And there's a little segue into discussing the New York Giants upcoming season here, because I got to tell you, JM, I feel real high on them, and then I feel a real low, and it's like it's swaying back and forth. I don't know exactly what to feel here.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I do the same thing with the Jets, so
but yours is a much different situation.
But like this week, like I've been low on the Jets, so I'm trying to snap out of it.
You're a much different situation.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Giants had an interesting offseason. Their front office views it as a good offseason, and even I view it as a good offseason, right? You don't have to worry about the quarterback right now. We've talked about the Daniel Jones contract and what I think about that and everything, but you got the quarterback. You get Darren Waller at a pretty cheap price. Saquon's back. He's on a affordable contract for them. He's not on any long-term commitment. He's playing on the franchise tag plus the $1 million they said to shut up.
Yeah.
But you still got questions at wide receiver. It's improved. The whole
deepest room in the league. Room in the league.
Yeah, because they're all filled with guys who
deepest wide receiver in the league.
When Madden comes out, the Giants wide receiver room is literally going to be like 1278 overalls. That's going to be the Giants wide receiver.
I love it.
But division.
Tough.
If I'm a Giants fan, I'm already crossing off 4 losses in the division. I mean, you can't, even if you steal a game from a Eagles or Cowboys, I don't think the Commanders, I mean, number one, it's a divisional game, so it's never just unless it's Jets Patriots for the past decade, it's never just all right, yep, that's a win. And the Commanders might be a little bit of a pain in the ass team to play this year because that defense is a very good defense. So, schedule, we're going to run through it. We'll run through the schedule basically right now. We'll talk about it. I'm really interested. I haven't gone through it yet. And like, this is going to be live, like off the rip. If
win, loss,
what I think their record's going to be, I'm really interested to see what it turns out to be.
All right, let's run through the schedule here. I do want to talk a couple of things afterwards, just about the state of the team and Jones and things like that. But we'll run through the schedule. Okay. Obviously, August 26th, the date that the Jets feel the need to deploy Aaron Rodgers to try and beat us.
Yeah,
that's fine. You guys do that. I'm sure we'll be starting Tyrod in that game, so you're all good.
Okay. Well, yeah, the starter against starter. Beautiful.
Wow. All right. Let's go. I'm getting pumped up for this game as we speak. A month away, less than it. Cowboys, Giants at MetLife, Sunday night football like we're supposed to have it, Giants, Cowboys.
Right, loss, right.
See, like, my heart obviously says win. Like, if you really change the culture here, like, change things, we're moving in the right direction. You win this game. Haven't beat the Cowboys in years. Haven't beat the Eagles in years. Not going to beat the Eagles this year. But I think, I want to say they steal one against Dallas.
It's not, okay, it's not crazy to say they win. I'll give you that. It's a home primetime game against Dallas. I get it. I'm going to say loss.
I'm going to objectively say, I'm going to try and not be biased. I'll give it a loss. I'll give them a loss.
You know what? I changed my mind because we know the way schedules work out. It's not the best player, the best team wins every game. So I'll let you split Dallas. So I'll give you the win. Opening night, teams all amped up, this and that, win. Start off the year 1-0.
I think they're going to beat Dallas once this year. I don't know if it's this game, but I think they get Dallas. They'll lose both to Philly, don't doubt.
Change my mind. Loss. I was trying to be nice. No more changing my mind. Loss. Oh,
they're going to split. I'm going to go 0-1. They're going to split with Dallas, though. 0-1, I think. Okay. We'll see. Okay, they're 1-1. They beat the Cardinals. They're 1-1.
Yes, they'll beat the Cardinals.
They'll go Thursday night to San Francisco and get absolutely their doors blown off. 1-2.
1-2.
They actually might make that 1-3 for what that game's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus
Double
Christ.
loss, right.
I think Monday night after the Thursday at home against Seattle, I think they win that game. I think they get Seattle at home.
Okay, win. I'll give you a win.
I'm 2-2.
You're not losing 2 primetime games at home. Win.
No. In Miami, how I feel about Miami. I like them. I'm going to go loss against Miami. 2-3. A closer game than we think. They go to Buffalo and lose. They're 2-4.
Loss. 45-0. Loss.
They beat the Commies at home. They're 3-4.
Sure. You're supposed to say oh, Commanders, and I'm supposed to say win or loss. You're just like telling me
All right.
what's going to happen. Why don't you
All
let me
right.
pick for myself?
Jets Giants.
Jets.
Okay.
Jets.
Close game. Close game. You know what the
Close
spread is
game?
right
No,
now?
close game. Close game.
You know what the spread is right now, by the way?
What?
Only like a one. You guys are only like 1-point favorites.
All right.
It's a little weird. All right. So what are the Giants here? They're
3-5.
3-5. Okay, they go to Oakland. What do we think?
Well, if they were going to Oakland, they would not be playing anybody because
They're
the
going to
Raiders don't play there
Vegas.
anymore.
They're going to Vegas.
But that's a win. The Raiders suck.
I actually think Vegas is going to be in contention for Caleb there. I think they'll be that bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be them, Tampa Bay, and
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, 4-5, right?
Yes.
25 in Dallas is the worst thing on planet Earth. Win.
Loss.
All right, so I'm at 5-5. You're at 4-6.
4-6.
JM, can I say something? Dak Prescott owns the New York Giants. I mean, like they could remove John Mara and Wellington Mara, his dad when he was alive, and Steve Tisch. They could put Dak Prescott right there, okay? Josh Harris is not the owner of the Washington Commanders. Daniel Jones is. They win that game too. They're 6-5. They sweep the Commanders. Everything just fell off my desk because I slammed it. Everything just fell off my desk. Okay. They're sweeping the commies. And we know about the intern.
You're splitting with the commies. Loss.
No, you're not splitting with the commies. You're just sweeping the commies. They should have swept the commies last year.
Right. What am I at? 4-7 now?
Yeah, I'm at. What am I at? 6-5?
Yeah.
Okay. At home against New England.
That game actually makes me nauseous.
The Giants 7-5. Giants.
I don't know. New England likes playing in MetLife. I'll tell you that.
Not against us though.
You'll win one of those two games, the Commanders and the Patriots. So win.
So you're 5-7. I'm 7-5.
Yeah.
At home Packers. I'm almost positive that's a Giants off the bye, and I think that's Monday night. I think that's a win.
Loss.
8-5.
5-8.
I think they'll go New Orleans the next week. Short week, yeah.
Loss. 5-9.
I think that's the loss as well. I am 8-6. All right, so we see Christmas Day there. We can in Philadelphia. So
all right.
You know.
I'll give you the win just because I forgot you're playing the Eagles again. You'll beat somebody there, Packers or Saints. So 6-8. You'll lose to Philly, 6-9.
Yeah. So what am I? I'm 8-6 here.
Yep. No, what?
I'm 8-6 after they lose to Philly.
So how am I 6-9 then?
Damn it.
What?
I screwed up. All right, hold on. Hold on. Talk for a minute.
This must be so painful to listen to.
2-2, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5. And the Giants rattle off 3 straight wins, 6-5, 7-5, 8-5, 8-6. I'm 8-7. I'm 8-7.
All right, and I'm 6-9.
Yes, I'm 8-7 going into the Rams game.
Right.
Going in the Rams game at home.
Win.
9-7. I agree. They're 9-7. What are they for you? 7-9. And then
Philly again.
I mean, I'm gonna guess Philly's playing for something in that game.
7-10. The 7-10 New York Giants.
9-8. Not 9-8 New York Giants, but I thought off the rip they're gonna have to steal one against Dallas. They're gonna have to. I mean, they could also steal one against New Orleans. I think they steal one versus Dallas, whether it's the one in Dallas or the one opening night. 9-8, 7 seed. Doable.
7-8, 8th overall pick. I mean, 7-10, 8th overall pick.
You know what, Jam?
Receiver.
We talked about their improvement, at the wide receiver position. We talked about the improvement at the wide receiver position. They improved at linebacker. because they're getting their third round pick from last year back who never played, towards ACL in camp. So they're going to be much better at the linebacker position. The secondary is a work in progress. I'll give you that. Their defensive line is a strength on defense. Listen, I'm concerned about the defense. Okay. I'm much more concerned about the defense than I am the offense. But I think the quarterback can play. I really do.
Listen, the quarterback,
he's
not a bum. Daniel's not a bum. Don't get me wrong. The receiver room, like, can you Giants fans, like, wake up and smell the freaking roses, man? Like, or smell the crap, I should be saying. Just because you went from Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton and whoever else was in that disgusting ass Richie James, and now you have Paris Campbell and Jalen Hyatt. Like I said, it's a bunch of like really mid receivers you have. You still have the problem where you don't have a true number one receiver. Do you even have a true number two receiver? Sure, I get the upside with some of these guys, but inexperienced receiver in Wan'Dale Robinson, inexperienced receiver in Jalen Hyatt. Somebody's going to have to step up here. If I'm a Giants fan, and I'm sure the Giants might be looking at it the same way, number one receiver on the team right now is Sterling Shepard.
Darren Waller is the number one receiver,
yes,
technically.
He's a tight end, but yes. Sterling Shepard, the number one receiver. Darren Waller, listen, guys had injury problems.
Yeah.
A possibility this year for injuries. And who's to say that, okay, he's healthy? Darren Waller's the Darren Waller we know, because last year he was healthy at the end of the year, and he was not the Darren Waller that we usually know.
Darren Waller,
1,000 yards and, one of the top three tight ends in the league, probably the second best pass catching tight end.
Waller is going to open up the field for a lot of these guys. I think the way that the Giants coaching staff is going to be able to scheme guys open, sort of like how we saw last season with Hodgins, the reason why he was able to take such a big step forward when they signed him off the practice squad of the Bills. I think these are going to be the reasons why this team's good. They needed speed. They added speed. They added speed on the outside. Slayton looks like he's gotten better from last season. We're talking about, again, mid wide receivers. I understand that. But what's not to say in the second year for some of these guys in this offense, with Daniel Jones taking hopefully another step forward in this offense in his second year, which I don't think is a crazy thing to say at all, behind what is hopefully an improved offensive line with Evan Neal working on his struggles from last season. I don't think it's crazy to say that not only will the quarterback step up and make big plays and take that next step forward, but the wide receiver room as well. I'm not excited about these wide receivers, but I think they're going to be better than what they had last season. And I think the coaching staff will be able to scheme these guys open. And I know it's a completely different situation, and I've used this comparison before, but the Chiefs with the last season did not obviously, outside of Travis Kelce, who's the greatest talent ever, the receiver room, not that talented. And I know the quarterback's different, but the coaching,
it's very different.
They're able to scheme these guys open and get these guys open, and Patrick Mahomes is able to hit them and make big plays.
I'll give you then like the opposite to the pessimistic view of the Giants. Yeah. The defense, I'm very concerned.
I'm concerned.
Bottom half of the league defense last year. No real true. Wow, that's a huge improvement right there.
Linebacker is. Linebacker is a major improvement. They had guys off the practice squad starting at linebacker.
Yeah, okay, yes. But also, like we've discussed when we talk about the Bears and other teams, linebacker, it's towards the bottom of your concerns with modern day NFL defenses. I mean that I'm still just the pass rush I can see being good. You have Ojulari and Thibodeau, and who's to just listen, let's remember, pass rushers, more than other positions, usually take a couple of years to turn out really good. Like Thibodeau, I know some Giants fans might have some high expectations for this guy to just turn into, a 13, 14 sack guy this year. Like, that's not necessarily how it's going to work. I'm concerned about that secondary. Just very concerned about that secondary. Yankees classics playing on my TV.
That's great.
And then the offensive side of the ball. I get it. Daboll did a great job last year. He schemed guys open. The Giants, sure, Daniel Jones didn't air the ball out last year, but he was good at making plays with his legs. He found open guys on crossing routes on this and that, and they made it work. there's a certain cap that you hit as an offense in that scheme, and they can't go much higher playing that style of football. So what happens?
But
Now
who's to
you're
say
forced.
Daniel Jones can't throw the ball downfield? We've
This is what
seen
I'm
him throw
saying
the
is
ball
now
downfield.
you're forced to have an offense where you're throwing the ball downfield more, a more complex passing offense designed for a better quarterback. That's going to be when, okay, is Daniel Jones actually a $40 million quarterback? And I don't think he is. Will I be proven wrong? Only time will tell. But that's why I see the Giants as 7-10 and not as 10-7 or 9-8.
I think Jones proves everybody wrong. I can't wait. I think at everything that could happen this season, I think that's the one thing that happens. He proves everybody wrong.
Okay.
Okay, nice Giants discussion there. Where are we going next here? Because I know we were cutting some things. Do we want to go to the South previews very quickly?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you just one question, okay? And then I'm going to ask myself the same question. Is there any team in the AFC South that is even close to the Jaguars?
No. I've seen a lot of people picking the Titans. They're interesting to me because I love Mike Vrabel, and I think that they could be, he could have a Mike Tomlin effect where they just can't have a bad team because he's such a good head coach.
Right.
But this team's bad, man. Like they're pretty bad. The offensive line is the worst in football. You have Derrick Henry, who, don't get me wrong, we keep waiting for the Derrick Henry fall off, and it doesn't seem like it's really happening. It might be happening very slowly, but, that guy's like an alien. Like, he might just be fine. But old weapons in Henry and then with DeAndre Hopkins on the outside, not loving that. Tannehill. I think you're going to see a QB turnover in the middle of the season, and things are just going to go down.
See, I want to say, because I completely agree with you with Vrabel, and it's a great comparison. I love Vrabel as a head coach.
Right.
And the defense and the entire team, specifically the defense last season, was so banged up and was basically, other than not having a quarterback, was, the reason why they blew the division lead and the Jaguars are able to come back and win it. The defense going to, at least start the year healthier. But and I want to say, oh, they got a chance. But you mentioned the offensive line. You mentioned, I believe, I'm 100% on the train of Henry is slowing down. I think the injuries are catching up to him. Yeah, I can't see the Titans doing this here and pulling this off. I really like the Jaguars. You know how much I love Trevor Lawrence. I think they got a legit team. Over there, we really don't talk about the rest of the division because, we got two rookie quarterbacks.
The Colts are gross. Like, the Colts are going to be, when we talked about the Bucks and them before, like, the Colts are going to be in that mix for the number one pick, but they're not going to pick a quarterback. Okay. Let's just real quick.
If it's Caleb,
if they have the number one pick and Anthony Richardson has a bad rookie season, but it's, let's not jump the gun here. It's
no, they take Caleb Williams.
Right? Got, like, Caleb Williams is like that can't miss guy.
Name the teams that would not take Caleb Williams one if they had the number one overall pick.
Right. I mean, the obvious ones like your Chiefs and Bills and, we're not
Bengals, Eagles, right? Like those kind of teams.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, but the Ravens wouldn't.
Jaguars, Ravens.
The Jets would. I mean, God.
Ravens would consider
awful.
it.
I mean, I don't even know how the Jets would have the number one pick.
They don't have the first round pick.
Well, no, there is a situation where they get the first round pick.
Yeah, we're not going to say it.
Speak about it. But yeah, anyways, Colts bad. Texans, I see a little upside with them, not being awful. Like, I could see them having a 6 or 7 win season if everything goes right, just because I think D'Amico Ryans, anytime you make a head coaching change, there's potential for some improvement, especially when you're taking over a team that was like the worst team in the NFL last year. The defense, they have some nice pieces. They got Jimmy Ward, Will Anderson, Sheldon Rankins. So improvement. CJ Stroud, though. We're going to talk about Bryce Young. I'm not going to come out and make any assumptions. A lot of rookie quarterbacks in these freaking divisions. Jesus. I'm not going to come out and make any assumptions and say this guy's going to have that kind of career. This guy's going to have that career. I'm much firmer believer in Bryce Young than CJ Stroud, like by a significant margin.
Yeah. I
But
completely
yeah,
agree.
now the Jaguars are the real ones to just talk about in this division. To me, they're gonna be as good as Lawrence is. Like, if Lawrence takes that leap into Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Herbert, that
Burrow,
Burrow
yeah.
territory, then we're talking about the Jaguars as a Super Bowl contender. If Trevor Lawrence kind of builds off a little bit of what he had last year, throws about 28, 29 touchdowns, good season, 4,200 yards, something like that, then we're looking at, maybe a 10-win Jaguar team, something like that, team that wins the division, but we still don't really view them as a Super Bowl contender.
It's not talked about enough. I'm actually just realizing this right now. Ridley, had his issues obviously off the field and even staying on the field when he was playing with Atlanta. But overall, we view Ridley as a very good wide receiver.
Yep.
I think Ridley can have that same effect on Lawrence, where I don't think he needs him, but the same effect that Diggs had on Allen and Brown had on Hurts, where Lawrence might even be a little bit more developed than those guys were when they acquired those receivers. But it's just going to expedite that next step of him becoming that elite quarterback into that elite class.
Yep.
And I think he does it this season. I love Doug Peterson. I think, it's a perfect match considering what Lawrence had to deal with in his first year. I mean, he basically had his rookie season last year. All over the Jags here. I think the potential to be a number one seed is legitimate because of just how great the AFC is and how much they're going to beat the hell out of each other. So they're going to be 100%. I'm, with you on the Jags. The NFC South, I got a hot take here. It's really gross. By the way, we're going to mention them. I don't like Atlanta's like this hot, sexy pick to win the NFC South. I don't see it at all. I don't see it with Atlanta. I can't trust the quarterback in Ritter.
But I also don't get it. Like,
the O-line's good. They'll run the hell out of the football, but there's going to become a point where they're going to literally put 7 men in that box and say, let's go, Desmond, beat us. And he's not going to be able to do it.
So then what happens? Like, did the Saints just win this division by default?
No. The Panthers win the division.
I'm pretty sure I had this take like a couple weeks ago, and you strongly disagreed with me.
Yeah, and I did a 180.
Okay.
They have a good offensive line. They'll run the ball. I like running backs by committee. If you haven't noticed by now, I like 2 running backs. Right? They'll have that this season. The weapons aren't great, right? I mean, Thielen's nothing like, oh wow, it's crazy, and
that. I mean, also I disagree. I think Miles Sanders is like, I think they paid him to be like a 3-down back. I think they're gonna like try to.
It's gonna be like him and Chuba.
I think they're gonna try. I mean, Chuba will have a role for sure, but I think they're gonna try to get as much out of Miles Sanders as they can. The weapons are I mean, Thielen, DJ Chark.
I love DJ Chark.
Jonathan Mingo is making some noise in camp apparently.
And I wanted the Giants to draft that mother effer.
Yeah. So,
I love their draft. I'm a huge Bryce Young guy. Again, I said at the top of the show, I would have, if I was the Bears, I would have stayed at 1. I would have drafted Young.
If there was a guy that I would say would have a good rookie season, like competitive rookie season, it would be Bryce Young. And I know it's pretty rare for that to happen these days. It seems like these quarterbacks take a little while to get going. We haven't really
advanced
seen it since
He's
Herbert.
An advanced guy.
I think he could be a guy that comes out and keeps your team competitive his rookie season.
The rest of the division, again, the Saints, they're just a question mark for me.
There's a ton of question marks.
I don't like the head coach at all. I do not like Dennis Allen. I don't think he's a good NFL head coach. I like Derek Carr. I think he's fine for what they kind of will need him to do. But I don't think it'll be enough. I don't. I really like this Panthers team. We talk about, Olave's great. I think Olave is, the best, obviously the best offensive player in that room. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Saints.
He might turn out to be the best besides Bijan. He might turn out to be the best offensive player in that division.
Yeah, he could be.
Receiver skill player wise.
And do we have to talk about the Bucks? I mean, come on. I mean, it's going to be Bowles is going to be fired so fast.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't traded anybody. Like Mike Evans, like just get rid of that guy.
I know.
I mean, get what you can for him right now.
It's a tough situation for Mike there.
It is. And, the Jets I see a lot of Jets fans want Mike Evans.
To me, the receiver. I mean, Jesus, man.
Come on.
When did you become so spoiled?
I don't know.
Anyway.
What do you think about Hardknocks? I never asked you what you thought about the episode.
Let's talk about it because you're not going to like what I have to say.
Oh, my God. You always are against the grain with crap like this. What? What are you going to say?
I cannot stand your head coach. It's official. I cannot stand the head coach. I actually hate the head coach at this point. I hate him.
Why? Like, why? Please give me a good reason right now.
I can't give you a good reason.
Okay,
other than
you
the
just
fact,
hate him.
Yeah, no, really, I have nothing. There's really, I mean, he hasn't done a good job, obviously, but I don't like his whole mojo here. And you could talk about not wanting Hard Knocks, whatever, right? And you got to deal with it, right? You can't get everything you want in life. You don't want Hard Knocks, you get Hard Knocks, whatever. He seemed like, at an Academy, what is it? The Grammy? No, not a Grammy. Grammy's music. Academy Oscar. Thank you. He seemed like an Oscar award winning actor in Hard Knocks. The speech at the beginning. Oh my God, I want to throw up.
Why? This is so for attention. It's BS. Okay, so you don't like Sirianni. You can't stand him because of how arrogant he is and this and that. Rob Saleh is like the opposite of that, where he just hasn't shown arrogance or anything like that. He's just making a speech to his team with cameras on him. And you're like, yeah, no, I hate this.
What was Rob Saleh's MO when he was the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers? Every camera, they showed Rob Saleh more than they would show Kyle Shanahan. Double time more Rob Saleh than Kyle Shanahan. And by the way, he doesn't have to be this big macho guy who's going crazy on the sideline.
In the past 2 seasons?
He's not like he was in San Francisco,
yes,
rightfully
he is.
so.
He's always running around all over the place and freaking like chest bumping his players.
He's not that same guy.
You are so ridiculous.
He's not that same guy.
Oh my God.
It's really, you know what, Jam?
These stupid takes for no reason.
I have no reason to dislike the guy. I mean, again, he hasn't done a great job with the Jets. Like, that's not,
Yes, he has.
News.
He's done a great job, bro.
That's not a great job.
He took the 32nd ranked defense, dead last, and made them a top 5 defense last year.
That would be a good job if he was the defensive coordinator.
Go on.
That would be a good job if he was the defensive
coordinator.
Because
I'm sure any other head coach in the NFL would have done a great job with Zach Wilson last year.
I mean, yeah, you got me there, but
yeah,
still,
exactly.
I'm not a fan of the coach. Okay,
no,
I don't know.
You're not a fan of anything.
I'm a fan of the Giants.
Yeah,
not a fan of the Mets.
Fan of the Giants. You're just.
And
you believe your own BS is what you are. That's what you
do. With Saleh, I do. With I have a thing against Saleh.
You're too much of a freaking radio personality.
I don't think
you listen to too much New York sports radio. Like,
I don't think Saleh works out. I don't think Saleh is the future head coach of the New York Jets. Yankee Classics got you going there.
No. Okay, that actually creeped me out a lot. Something just started making noise in here. I don't know what the hell that was.
Oh, well, he's being attacked. All right, let's move on to football. Quickly. I thought Rodgers, I mean, everything he's done so far, I mean, he's done everything the right way. The honeymoon has been great with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see how that ends up after the season, though.
I was expecting some sort of like snarky remark after that. I'm surprised. Way to hold back. Good job.
No, I got you. Wait until the offseason.
Yeah. Okay.
When you got
everything's all pink and rainbows and marshmallows over on the Giants side.
It's not. It's just
Daniel Jones gonna prove everybody wrong. Daniel Jones, the guy who looks like a freaking Lego. I love him. Brian.
I like Daniel Jones.
My little short, bald, fat head coach. Oh, I love him. He's a rah-rah football guy. He's a genius. He's done a great job. Blah, 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 blah.
He is, by the way, he's a genius, a football genius. I love Brian Daboll. I'd do anything for Brian Daboll.
Yeah, okay. You love Joe Judge, too. Remember how much you loved Joe Judge?
I did like Joe Judge.
You were ready to jump off a bridge for Joe Judge.
Come on. You listen to that guy speaking. You want to run through a wall for Joe Judge?
Jump in front of a sniper bullet for Joe Judge, and then you hated him. Hated him.
It got to a point where you had to hate the guy.
Please.
Different with Dayball. It's different. It's just like that ex. It's like that new girlfriend.
No,
different. It's different. She's different. He's different. Anyway, off of baseball here. How about your pathetic franchise in baseball? I mean, just tone deaf, stupidity, arrogance, ignorance from the owner and the general manager. There's a report out there that no matter what happens this season, Brian Cashman will be back. It seems as though Aaron Boone is going to take the fall here. I got a very interesting take for you on it, but we'll start with you. The report out there about Brian Cashman.
Yeah, it's not surprising, but it's awful. Like that's how I could put it. It's awful. He has done a terrible job. It seems to be getting worse year after year. He hasn't been able to put together a World Series product. He hasn't been able now to put together a playoff product with a $300 million payroll and one of the most desirable teams and markets to play for in the entire league. So I don't know. Like I don't have an answer for you. Like, to what point is it time to let this guy go? Does he need to go up to Hal Steinbrenner and murder his family in front of him? And then and then he'll be like, okay,
wow,
we should get rid of Brian Cashman now, guys. But no, they're going with the same BS route where they're going to make Boone the scapegoat. And, we got rid of Aaron Boone. Then there's going to be potential managers out there that Yankee fans like. And then they're going to hire some random ass pitching coach who was the assistant manager for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, and they're going to make him the manager, and they're going to sell us on him, and that next manager is just going to be the Yankee puppet, and so, okay, Brian Cashman, you want me to put this guy in the lineup? No problem. And yeah, be nice to the players, don't be a hard ass, coddle everybody, and we're just going to go through this cycle like every 5 years. Brian Cashman's probably going to trade for, I don't know, there's probably some good guys who are on the market. I heard that Daniel Vogelback guy's really good. We could use a left-handed bat. We'll probably get him. That Darren Ruff guy, we could probably use a right-handed bat too. We should get him.
Yep.
They'll probably trade for some guy with a $30 million payroll that has 2 more years left on his contract.
Max Scherzer might be available.
Oh, so yeah, instead of signing a premier free agent this year. But besides that, it's going good. I'm really liking the way the team's going to be looking next year. We're going to be really good. We have prospects. We have a good farm system. We don't call anybody up. They just sit there. Our AAA team's really good. Guys put up really good numbers, but we don't allow them to come up because we pay 37-year-olds $25 million and keep them in the big leagues. But yeah, I'm looking really, really forward. The Somerset Patriots are going to be real good next year. The Rail Riders are going to be good. The Yankees, I'm not too sure about, but
the farm system isn't that good. It's not a good farm system right now.
Dude, we have guys that are putting up great numbers. Everson Pereira and Estevan Florial are putting up fantastic. Estevan Florial, the guy who's been a top prospect for the Yankees for, I don't know, 6 years now, putting up great
DFA
numbers,
like twice this year, by the way.
Great numbers in AAA. What do the Yankees need? We need outfielders. Yo, does anybody know where I can find an outfielder?
No, I think Frenchie Cordero's available again.
Right. Yeah, let's look to the waiver wire to get some washed up -0.5 WAR outfielder that Brian Cashman thinks has a nice swing. Let's bring him.
Please don't talk about Billy McKinney in a bad way at all. Yeah, I think you mentioned it before. Like, the money is being spent, right? The payroll is almost at $300 million. And the team is they're just spending the wrong money. It's the IKF trade and the Donaldson and IKF trade. It's the inability to bring prospects up and then develop them. It's holding on to prospects, either not trading them or they're bringing them up and not giving them a chance. What are we doing with Peraza here? I mean, we're going to have another issue with this guy now. You have Dominguez, the Martian, who was, one of the top prospects in baseball. He's moved down the list. Sure, you can't look at lists like that. But I mean, what's to say that they bring up Dominguez in a couple of years and it's not just the same crap all over again, where he turns out to be a bust like we've seen from a lot of these Yankee top prospects. It's just a cycle that is just not good. And let me just say this about Aaron Boone. If I just gave you take away the Yankees and the logo and the stadium and everything, I'm just going to run down the list of the age of the player and what they're making and the roster construction of this team. Do you think Aaron Boone wants to manage a team like that? I think it's a blessing in disguise for Aaron Boone if he's let go after this season. And I know you hate this. Oh, he'll get a chance somewhere else. He will get a chance somewhere else. And that's not a reason to keep the guy. Okay. Yeah. He's not the greatest manager in the world. He's not one of the better managers in baseball. But I don't think he's a bad manager.
No, I don't think he'll
get another job.
I don't think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a bad manager. I guess he's just kind of middle of the road. When we talk about where the hell's this money going, I'm looking at the Yankees IL right now. Do me a favor. Can you pull up for me just MLB payrolls? Just every team's payroll. Just look up MLB payrolls.
Let me go to Sports Track. Hold on. Give me a second.
The amount of guys on this list that are making a substantial amount of money to not play is just, and I know injuries happen, but it's really comical when you look at this, especially when you consider most of these guys on this list are guys that were trades or were big free agent signings that were supposed to be dependable players for us.
Yeah.
You got it up?
Yeah, I got the payroll list and the numbers.
Where is what's the median team, like the 15th highest payroll in baseball?
The White Sox are at 162 million.
Okay. What is the lowest one?
The Nationals are at 47 million.
Jesus, that's crazy. They're lower than the O's?
The O's are 70. Oakland's 58.
Okay, let's see now. I'm crunching some good numbers for you here.
I have the injured reserve number.
Okay. Where's Oakland?
Oakland's 58, Pittsburgh 68, Baltimore 70.
Keep going.
Tampa Bay 78.
Okay. Merlot, answer me this question. Who is winning the AL East right now?
The Baltimore Orioles.
Okay. Who is in second place in the AL East right now?
The Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay. And read me their payroll one more time. The
Tampa Bay's at 78 and Baltimore's at 70.
Okay.
Million.
Well, I guess I'll give the Yankees a break because theirs is 76 million. Oh, never mind. The Yankees injured list is $76 million.
That's a joke.
The team that has the best record in the American League, the team that is winning your division, the team that you used to bully, the Baltimore Orioles, pay their players $6 million less, their entire roster, than the players that are on your injured list right now.
Rodon has a chance to be an unmitigated disaster.
Rodon, I think, is going to. I really like.
I want to give it. I want to give it next year.
All the time, I'm Mr. Cool, and I'm like, dude, just give the guy a chance. Or why are we reacting? We're only this far into the season, or blah blah blah. He's had the injury concerns in his career in the past. He's not always been a good starter.
Look at Cashman's track record of bringing pitchers here, though. It's outside of a handful of guys.
Mark my words. I hate to say it, and Yankee fans are going to hate me for saying it, but I really believe this. You have met your new Carl Pavano, and his name is Carlos Rodon.
That's crazy.
He's
got to go. This guy is killing this team.
Yep,
Cashman, and he's got to go. He's got to go. There's no direction for the organization. I mean, the Mets, were a disaster, right, for this season. Granted, a lot of guys on, short-term deals. They're able to go out there and set themselves up. They have a direction. They have set themselves up for some sort of a future.
Right.
The Yankees have none.
Yep.
All right. Episode 103 in the books, JM. It was a good one. And we'll talk to you guys soon.